This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. And this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, back in 1987, I would have been 15 years old. And one thing I remember about that year is this gorgeous, beautiful redhead that I dove onto the pop scene that year. And I used to be, actually still am, a huge admirer. Folks, she's a million miles, but we're going to be talking today with Tiffany. How do you do, Tiffany?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
You know, Tiff, I remember when your original album came out in 1987, I used to have your posters all over my bedroom wall. That's why this is such an honor for me. Like I practically grew up listening to you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a journey, my musical career. You know, I've been doing this for like 30 years now. So it's I still love it. I still tour a lot, making new music, songwriting, co-producing. So I've grown up a lot. But I mean, I still, every day is a new adventure. I so enjoy it.
And I must say, you still look stunning.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I love the red hair. I love the red hair.
Thank you. I know I get yelled at. I get a little bored sometimes with the red, so I try to change it up, and then I get yelled at. Why do you change your hair color? So I add little bits of color and different things, you know.
Well, you know, Lon Holly.
To be adventurous.
Lon Holly in Dumb and Dumber, I thought looked like a stunning redhead, and then she dyed her hair to different colors, and I was like, she should have kept the red hair. The red hair is a nice, unique color for hair, and it always looks good, especially on women.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm very partial to redheads, of course, but I think you have to.
There you go. Well, I remember that. Yeah.
We're a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You never know what you're going to get during the day. My husband always goes, I never know who I'm waking up with.
Well, your husband's a very lucky man.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I remember that first album. You know, you had your big hits. I Think We're Alone Now, Could Have Been. So I'm standing there. And then some of your lesser-known songs like Danny and Promises Made and Johnny As the Inside Moves. And I remember that album quite well. And I guess do you have a favorite song off that album?
Probably Could Have Been. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs to sing. I still do it in all my shows, of course. And it showed that I could sing. I recorded it when I was 14, so... You know, and the label actually, MCA didn't want me to record that song. My producer and I kind of fought to record that song just because at 14, everything's so dramatic. I mean, when somebody breaks up with you, it's dramatic. It's the end of your world. And so Could Have Been, I could actually relate to, you know, that being boy crazy myself, you know, I had a couple of hard knocks already. And I really wanted to record that song. It also showed, again, that I could sing. And I thought that was really important, that people knew that I was a vocalist and not just, you know, a dance artist or, you know, one-hit wonder.
You know, I got to ask, you know, I remember the shopping malls, and you came up and you were singing in the shopping malls. And what was it like when you first had when you first learned that you had made it, you know?
Well, I mean, it was amazing. I don't think that I really processed it until I started traveling the world and going to other countries and people knowing my songs and, you know, being interested in, you know, where I shop for clothes and just knowing general things about me, about my family and my sisters or whatever, you know. So that really made a big impression on me because, I mean, I've always wanted to sing since I was 9 years old, and you know, music has always been my life, and I was very lucky that my parents took me serious and that people along the way helped me, and it just happened. But I don't think I could ever really think of the success that I was going to have, you know, #1 songs and traveling the world, and even now, 30 years later, I'm still in awe of all of it.
Well, Peter had introduced me to your new album, A Million Miles, and wow, like I've heard it and I really like it. I guess my favorite song on the album is a song called History. I think you reach a nice one of those famous high pitches during the course of that song. I like that one the best.
Oh, thank you. It's one of my favorites. I start my live show out with that song, and there's a couple of notes in there that are, the big dogs, and you got to hit them. So I like to get that one done and out of the way. But I think there's something about it. It really says where I'm at now as a performer, as a songwriter, and it's a very powerful song. So I always start my show out with that one, and it does turn heads. People are like, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I heard Tiffany was coming to town and doing a live performance, and I didn't know if that was a dance thing or a retro or it was going to be all 80s, but your new music is amazing, and it should be on radio, and it's like, I just don't understand why, it's not a massive hit, but, I'm not really pursuing that. I'm an independent artist now, and really for me, it's all about touring and connecting with the fans and, and just touring more than anything, and producing, and doing projects that interest me, really.
So, I don't remember off the top of my head how many albums you have out, but A Million Miles is your latest one. What was the process like of writing that?
It went fairly quickly, and I produced it. I had a lot of, definite and defined ideas for this one, being a little bit more theatrical with the production side of things. I definitely wanted songs that showed that I could sing again, and I co-wrote most of the songs on the album. So, I think there was just one, Daddy's Girl, that my girlfriend Bridget Tatum, who wrote She's Country for Jason Aldean, she has a song called Daddy's Girl that I fell in love with. So she let me record it, which I was so thrilled, and that's on the album. But the other songs really are stories about my life or personal experiences, and there's a song called Fall Again that is, about addiction and about losing somebody very close to you, which unfortunately has happened in my life. And, my dad passed away from cancer. So this album really is a reflection of soul therapy for me and some hard knocks in my personal life for the last 5 years or people that I'm attached to. It's not all a downer. There's some really just fun songs that are upbeat and kind of like toe tapping, and have a little bit of a rock edge to them. But for the most part, I kind of stuck with some mid-tempo to ballads on this, and just really gave it all my heart, and we went in and wrote these songs, and it was a quick process. I mean, my co-writers here in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live, they're pros, and they also know me. I wrote with people who are really my friends, so it was an easy story to tell, and they also could dig deeper, and they knew what I wanted to say. So it was a fun album to make. It wasn't just, again, my therapy, but it was a fun album to connect with my friends and just go in and have a good time. My co-producer, Stephen Lywicki, is amazing. I think I'll probably do a couple more albums with him. He's just a great soul, and he gets it. And, I can go in with the craziest of ideas, and he's like, okay, I'm hearing you. Let's try it, because it never hurts to try. We could do no wrong on this project. We just sat in the studio and tried different things.
I enjoyed Fall Again as well. That's a song I got written down here. Another one I, of course, wrote down is your single, Right Here.
Yes. I mean, we wrote that, that's a song that you could take for yourself and make it towards your loved one or your boyfriend or your partner or whoever that person is in your life. For me, I kind of wrote it about my fans. We made it more general. Obviously, you don't want to make something so defined that it doesn't speak to the fan or the listener themselves and they can't make it their own. But I wrote it about my fans. They've always been with me. They've allowed me to be a mom and a wife and do crazy sci-fi movies and take time off and, do other projects, dance projects. I did a country project and just really tell my story about me as a musician and who influences me, and what's speaking to me now. I mean, I really haven't changed that much, I don't think, because the earlier albums had a little bit of a mishmash of everything, from ballads to, again, a little bit of a rock sound to dance. And I think that I've always had a little bit of country there because I grew up listening to country music, and that's how I started. So, there's always going to be that thread underneath me of a little bit of a country sound.
It's funny because it just hit me just now. I remember you really liked Stevie Nicks and Belinda Carlisle.
I do. I just did a 80s tour on a boat, the 80s cruise with Belinda, and she's lovely, of course. And so I was really great to, it was great to see her. And Stevie Nicks is just every day in my life. I mean, I love her to death, and she's my inspiration. She is the person that I kind of guided to when I was like 9 and 10. I had an older cousin who, again, I was raised in a more of a country music kind of atmosphere, and my cousin was listening to Heart and Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac, and so I fell in love with her, and I've met her since, and she's wonderful, and we have mutual friends, and it's really nice to kind of get inspiration from her. When I do run into her, she's very, very uplifting. It's just keep going on. Music needs to be fun, and it has its heartbreaks and it has its failures sometimes, but you just keep doing what you love, and we're lucky to be doing it.
Yeah, that just kind of hit me. I remember you, and I never thought of it until you was mentioned the '80s, and I was like, it kind of keyed in there. A couple other songs I have listed here. Get Over You, that was one that stood out to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wrote that about a girlfriend who just couldn't shake a boy. She was dating a guy, and she exhausted all of our friends, including me. But I understood it, I mean, it was like her life, and and she just was like, everywhere I go, I see this person, and Nashville's not, it's growing, but we really still are a small community. So, yeah, if you have a bad breakup, you're probably going to see that person often, unfortunately. So I kind of wrote it about her and how she was feeling.
And of course, A Million Miles has a kind of a title song, only it's called A Million Miles Away.
Well, A Million Miles I wrote on my way to another writing appointment from Nashville to California. I like to drive. I'm not a big flying kind of person, so we drive a lot. And my husband said something about, I bet you we've driven 1 million miles. And then he fell asleep, and I was driving, and I thought, that's a really cool title.
Okay.
And then after that, I just started humming. I mean, that's kind of how I songwrite. This melodies kind of start coming to me. And then before I knew it, I was actually writing about my cousin who had passed away and people who've passed away. And, just kind of reflecting on my life and thinking there's so many great things that are happening, and they're not getting to see it, and they're not a part of my life on a daily basis. And who would have thought that? And, and at the same time, sometimes I could use their opinion and their advice, and I don't have that. And so A Million Miles kept rolling out, and it really is about still feeling those people in your life. And that even though they're not there, they still, all the experiences that you have kind of still point you in the right direction if you call on it. And that I really do hope that people are getting a chance to look down from heaven or whatever you believe and still see the happiness and still kind of guide you. I really do hope that exists.
Oh, I believe in heaven. I come from a Christian household, so I definitely agree on that. I was going to say you could have easily called, speaking of your husband, 1 million miles, but he fell asleep.
Yeah, he went down. He threw out a great title, and then he went to sleep. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to sit over here and write songs because that's what I do the best. I mean, when I'm driving, they just seem to come to me late at night, rainy days, and again, living in Nashville, I take a lot of writing appointments and write for other artists as well. And, you got to come in a little prepared and just usually your writing sessions are 2 to 4 hours, and you should walk out with a complete song. So I'm a very spontaneous writer, but I tend to, for my own projects, be in the middle of the night woken up with a song, or it's that rainy day with a cup of coffee early in the morning, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's a melody. You're like, oh, I've got to sit down and record it, But I love it.
Two more things I want to bring up. One, I can't help but bring this up. I brought this up in another interview with somebody else that Weird Al Yankovic did a parody of one of your songs called I Think I'm a Clone Now. And I was wondering if you heard it and what you thought of it.
Oh, I loved it. I definitely heard it. I've met him a million times, and he's a doll. And so, yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I just interviewed Gloria Loring on here, and of course she's the mom of Robin Thicke, and Robin Thicke's song "Blurred Lines" was done by Weird Al, and I asked, what did he think of that?
No, I think Weird Al is a character. I really enjoy a lot of his parodies, and I just, he's a nice guy when you meet him.
Oh yeah. Another thing too, in the 80s, the media is just nasty, and they always played you and Debbie Gibson against each other. And I was fans of both of you, and I got a massive kick out of Mega Python versus Gatoroid.
Well, I mean, that was, that's my dream. I love sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi nerd. So my son and I used to, on Saturdays, really just sit around the house, and I would cook, breakfast in the mornings, and we would have our world music day, which was in the morning. I would play some kind of different types of music from someplace, in the world. And so he indulged me there. And then the trade-off was I would sit down and watch a sci-fi movie with him. So when I really started to do more sci-fi movies, Elijah, my son, was like, what? You mean it's going to be on TV? My friends are going to see you? I said, yeah. But, I mean, it came through, they pitched it to me, and I thought it was the funnest thing I've done in a long time. Mary Lambert, the director, she is like a big kid, and we got on together very well. We're friends now, and, it was a silly little movie, but it was a lot of fun to make that movie.
My favorite scene in the movie. Like, I love slapstick humor, and I love the scene where you and Debbie Gibson get into the food fight. I mean, you took a pie in the face, and
we wanted to do more of our own stunts, but of course they wouldn't let us. But we did a lot, and we had a blast with it. We really did. It was funny because so many people think that Deb and I are, rivals, and that's just not true. It's never been true. We're just two different type of people, and we respect that about each other. And we are girlfriends, But I mean, when we hang out together, it's like her answers and my answers. You couldn't get to be more different. But again, we respect that. And who else would understand, the ups and downs in our childhood and touring the world and our success? We understand each other. And we always left little notes, oh, this place is great, or this place. But we really never got a chance to hang out together back in the day because we were so busy. So we thought it was really funny that, we were playing that up, that rivalry, with that cat fight.
I love the food fight. What was that like to do the food fight?
It was great. I've never done a food fight before. I never gotten, in trouble in school for throwing food. And, I definitely, my parents would have never thought that was cute for me to play with my food or anything like that. I wouldn't got in trouble, but it was awesome. It was really great just to kind of go for it. I mean, and again, Mary Lambert wanted us to really play it up. And I think we did a good job.
Well, that was awesome. Like, I thought it was cool. Like, you both, like, I think Debbie Gibson got her face in a cake and you got a pie in the face. And I was like,
yes,
what? This is, that was awesome. I love that kind of humor. So I was glued.
It was fun.
Yeah. No, but I was going to say, I don't know how much time we have left. Are we coming down to the end of her?
We are. I'm about to walk into a camera interview, actually, here in Nashville. So today's my working day. I've been on the road for so long, and now I'm home. So the work continues, but at least I'm in my own bed at night for a second. And we're getting ready to go off to the UK, actually, in a couple of weeks. So, I'm taking this album around the world. I mean, it's been the album that's kind of opened the doors for me a little bit. And the touring aspect, again, I don't really fly well, but the support from my fans has been amazing, and they do love the new music, and they love the live show, which you can go to tiffanytunes.com and check out all the live dates. And it really, the show is about you being a part of my world. It's like you're in my living room. We talk, we hang out. I hand out shakers and tambourines. It's very interactive. It's probably like nothing you've seen before. And we have a good time. I tour with amazing musicians who, on their own 2 feet, are amazing. I mean, my background singer, Jennifer Friend, is got a voice of angels, really, soulful and and she's a redhead, so she owns the stage. My guitar player, Trevor Finley, who's Canadian.
Oh, wow.
He comes from more of a Americana blues background, and he's an awesome guitar player. And, again, he owns the stage, and he's just genuinely a great guy. He also co-wrote on the album. So we're out having a really good time. Again, I'm playing with great people, but they're also my friends, my brothers and sisters. And I think you get that sense of family in this show as well. So it's been really great. A lot of my friends, fans across the world have been like, please bring this to Malaysia. Please bring it to Japan. And I'm very proud to say that, through the encouragement of my friends and my agents and the fans, I'm going to get on planes now, and I'm going to fly and bring this to other parts of the world, and I'm thrilled.
I wish I could have saw you and Debbie Gibson in Rock of Ages together, because I saw her in the little crowd sequence at the end of that movie.
Yes. Well, I was actually, I was somewhere I couldn't make it. They had invited me to be part of it, and I just was not able to swing it. It's kind of, sometimes it's hard when you don't live in L.A., you're just not down the street. Yeah. So it's sometimes I give up some things because I do live outside of Los Angeles.
Well, I got 2 quick things before you go. Number one, I have to ask about this. Being a fan for as long as I have, is there any way I could get an autograph picture?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just let Pete know, and I will send it out to you.
I would be honored. Number 2, I hope you do come out to Fredericton, New Brunswick here in Canada at some point, because I would definitely go see you. But I was wondering if you would do a plug for my show before you go.
Sure.
Yeah. Just state your name, and of course, my name's Greg Gilbert, and my show's called Python's Paradise, Python like the snake, and I'm out in New Brunswick, Canada.
Okay. So let me write this down, just a little liner, so
Sure.
I have it all in a good little spot for myself. Give me 1 minute. Sorry.
Sure.
And Greg, give me how do you spell your last name again? Sorry.
Gilbert, Gilbert.
Greg Gilbert?
That's right.
Oh, that's easy. Okay.
Yeah. And the show's called Python's Paradise, like the snake, Python's Paradise. That's my DJ name. And I'm out of New Brunswick, Canada. Have you ever been out in New Brunswick before?
I don't believe that I have, and we're trying to put a Canadian leg together on this tour. We've got some offers from Winnipeg, which I've been to a couple of times. But, we're looking at, maybe doing a run there in Canada, which I would love for sure, because it's been a while. It's been too long.
Yeah. Well, I hope you can make a swing it by Fredericton, New Brunswick. That would be, I'd be honored to see you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, this is Tiffany, and you're listening to my good friend, Gary Gilbert.
Greg.
Python Paradise. Oh, Greg.
Try her one more time. That's okay.
I wrote down Gary.
That's okay. My dad's name's Gary. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
You ready?
Hey, this is Tiffany, and you're listening to my good friend, Greg Gilbert, on Python Paradise.
Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for bringing back all these memories. Like I said, 30 years ago, I was a fan of yours, and I'm still a fan today. And it's just a real blessing and honor to have had the privilege of talking to you. This is a major honor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. Does this interview need to be set out at any set time?
You know what? If you email Pete, he'll let you know on that one. I'm not too sure what his plans were. So, but I thank you for your time, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Okay. All right, then. Well, Tiffany, I bid you good luck with this album, and God bless you, and you have yourself a good day.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.